Hi there. Welcome to this week's Android developer interview. This week, hopefully, you'll know already, we're going to be interviewing the Android market, or Google Play as it is now, Publisher site team. A whole load of new stats just went live for you and your applications to see what's going on. So I'm going to introduce the people in the room to start with, and then we're going to do a section, probably about 20 minutes, with some demos of the new statistics. And after that, we'll have some open question and answer sessions for you. So here on my left, we've got Eva Lotta from the Android design team. I'm Richard, Android developer relations. We've got Ellie here, Max, Ricardo, Devashish, and Nick. So I'm going to hand over to Ellie for a little update on what just went live.
Okay, so I guess as we talked about in the last Hangout where I met many of you, data is a huge issue. You definitely all said, yeah, I need to know more about what my app is doing. I want to know who's downloading it, where they're coming from, are they uninstalling it, what's happening, tell me more. So we heard you loud and clear, and so we're really happy to launch a couple weeks ago more data. So this is data that you can see in the Android Developer Console as well as export onto your own computer to upload into any programs that you might use to do that analysis. So most importantly, we're going to show you exactly how it works, and we hope that you can use this not only for your own personal education, but also how to make your app better and how to make your users happier and make more money, we hope, as well.
Cool.
Okay.
Yeah, I will take over now to give you an introduction into the new statistics page. I know that probably most of you have seen it already, but I hope they're also like new developers or upcoming developers, so just want to give an overview how it looked like and how it looks now. So what we see right now is the whole statistics page, where we had the chart for the installs over time and as well the daily breakdown, which was unfortunately at this point not over time in this for the specific dimension, like what's the first one? Yeah, platform version, country, and so on. And yeah, we gave this whole page a complete new face, so we switch over to that now. What we can see here now, so fancy charts with a lot of data, which makes it makes your life hopefully easier. So in the end, first of all, it's the same data and more, of course. That was the goal, but it's not that we changed something. We have different metrics. We see here the active device installs, but a few more. We will go through that a bit later. And we have different dimensions, which we can see for each tab. So a really interesting one is the app version, which was not there on the whole page, which shows you how your versions from your app are doing, which is, I think, really interesting if you want to see about updates. And let's say you have your own server runnings, and you want to see, okay, at what point I can finally shut down an old server, old API or something like that. So you have now a much more better overview how many of your users are running which version. And as well, we have carriers, which is also a new dimension, which was not there yet. And I think this is, for instance, really interesting, in, especially probably for the marketing folks out there, to see like, okay, where are my users? Where I have to improve? Maybe do some specific marketings for specific carriers. Let's go to some daily installs, which is interesting because one of the data which we haven't offered you yet, which shows you how your app is doing on a daily basis, which is really interesting because, if let's say, okay, I had like a specific advertisement on a special day, or I know I had a promotion at this day, so I can see like, okay, wow, at this particular day, I had this and that number of installs, which, yeah, as well, should give you as much feedback as we can give you, so that you can act as good as you can. And we have also device upgrades, which shows you how the user, maybe can just back, no problem, takes a second until everything loads. And the device upgrades, I mean, we have the difference between users and devices, and obviously, I mean, like we see Richard with his tablet, so he's one user and has obviously several devices. So that's the difference between user and devices. And yeah, here we see, for instance, yeah, upgrades. So if you bring out a new version, you see the upgrades. And I mean, I think for some users, it's more interesting about, you know, on how many devices I'm installed. Some other people more care about how many users do I have. So, but I think our goal was just, you know, give you as much as information we can give you, and you just take out what you need. This was our goal with that page. And yeah, I think I mainly went through everything. And we have of course now the export, which is really important. And we know that a lot of developers were like, okay, hey, we have to log in every day and have to write that into some whatever file. And yeah, this is definitely something what we wanted to fix, and we did, especially Devashish was working on that. So I will hand over to him.
Yeah. So it just doesn't stop over there. Now you have the export functionality where you could select whatever list of matrix you want to download, and you can select various dimensions. You can select all of them, or you could select a bunch of them. So here I just select one of this, and basically in this you get all the matrix which are so this basically downloads a CSV file in which you get the complete data. Still gonna open. But one thing that's gonna be interesting in the export functionality is that in the main UI you get to see only top 10, and everything else gets plugged into others. With export functionality, you get everything downloaded over here, so you get much more visibility. You can see all the data. When it comes to country and language, the values are not localized. In the UI, you get localized version of the country and language. In export, we give you the ISO code for it, so that you can easily do your internal processing based on ISO code, not a localized string.
I think this is also particularly interesting for devices, because in the top 10 normally you get only a handful of devices, maybe the most popular ones, but in the export you get the full list, and it's very useful if you want to drill down into the other slice and see really how many devices you're reaching and the percentages for the smallest ones.
Yeah. So yeah, that's about it.
Cool.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks very much, Max, Ricardo, and Devashish there. The main thing for me was the upgrades being added onto there. I really like that graph when you can see when each person, when I publish an update out, the stats you're seeing on screen is one of my apps. When I publish an update out, being able to see when, as people upgrade onto it, how many people are still using the old version is quite an interesting thing. So do we have anyone on the YouTube maybe who would like to add a question through? I'm going to have a quick look on here as well.
While we have a quick look, there was one other thing I wanted to add in. So one feature we had before was that you're able to see how your app compares to other apps in your category. We've maintained that as well. So we'll hope that you'll continue to use that as an opportunity to identify, let's say, my game is really popular in the UK, but I see that other games are also really important in Korea. So maybe I might consider localizing into Korean and making it available to get more revenue and more users. So we hope that you'll use these comparisons to really help compare how your business is doing to other businesses and to identify new opportunities.
Yeah, definitely. I didn't point that out, which is definitely true. But in the end, yeah, we are not. We are showing more data now, so it was definitely, of course, not the goal to show you less data. And yeah, for instance, language is a good example as well. Languages that if you know, okay, I mean, especially like smaller developers or small developer companies, such as single developers, localization is an issue sometimes, and you may not have the resources, and then you know exactly like, okay, I see I have like growing community from that this or that language / country, and then you see like, okay, now it's maybe getting worth putting more effort into localization.
Agreed. So There aren't any questions coming in live right now. Oh, there's one. Sorry, one has just appeared.
All right, we're reading.
From a screen far away.
It's a vision test, actually.
Can you see our lips moving?
So, not installed so much.
So the question is whether we can track application installs also that come from other sources other than the market.
Yeah. So the new stats are great, but could you add a way to get many of those same statistics for apps that are not installed through Android Market? This would include apps downloaded from the web, from other app stores, or even pirated apps. This might require making a web service call or library call inside the app. Thanks, Ed, for the question. It's an interesting question because it's asking for data that to gather data that we don't actually hold at the moment.
It's a good question. I guess what I would say is, there's what we can provide, and I guess I'll let these guys talk a little bit more about whether this would be feasible or not. But I think the other thing to look at is if you want to get your whole perspective on reporting, things like usage as well as installation, definitely looking at Google Analytics or another analytics tool might make sense if you're looking to get a bigger picture of what users are doing with your app and where they got it, or just whether are they using it or are they interacting with it. So I would just consider to look at those possibilities as well.
Totally, I would totally agree. You need to put something like Google Analytics, one of the analytics packages, inside your application, and then you can use install referrer tracking, and at least you'll know whether it's come through the web market, whether it's come through the market on the handset, and if it hasn't come through either of those, you'll be able to track if it came from an advertising campaign, and then you'll have to make assumptions about the remaining places that you listed on there. But adding analytics into the application is definitely a good way to track those things. I'm just diverting my eyes as some more questions are appearing on the left-hand side. Any thoughts on integrating bug sense type crash reporting? I should have said at the start that we're not going to make any announcements during this. And we probably won't answer questions on any future releases, things like that. But because I didn't say it in time. Any thoughts on integrating bug sense like crash reporting?
I guess what we have heard in this Hangout and in previous Hangouts, and we spend a lot of our free time also talking to developers one-on-one. Doing more on crash reporting is definitely a request that we've heard before. And I guess since we can't announce anything, we'll just leave it at that. But if you do have specific suggestions, feel free to comment on the Plus post or give us more information about exactly what is it that you need, and we can certainly take that into account when we make our future team.
Thank you, Matt, for that question.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, as Ellie said, leave your comments on the Google Plus post. We will read it. Don't worry. It's not that we post something and we will ignore it. We will definitely write that down into our notebooks.
That's true. I guess even just want to let all you know who have commented on Google Plus in the past. We actually go through, read all of them, and Max last time reviewed all of the comments from last time yet again in preparation, just to make sure that we were familiar with all of the feedback and keeping it in mind.
Yeah. We may not answer on everything, but you hopefully can understand, but we will read feedback, especially if you leave it on the Google Plus announcements.
Right. Feedback from developers is very important to us. Last year, Nick and I were running Android developer labs across Europe, and Eva came along with us to ask all the developers in those labs at the time for their Android Market publisher site feedback. Did you have anything to say about the experience there?
Oh yeah, it was
anything that made it through, maybe.
Well, I won't do any announcements either.
Everything the current releases that go out.
All right.
Not in the future. Maybe statistics.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, it was actually great. I went to 2 of the sessions that Nick and Rich ran, and it was very good because it was shortly after I joined the team, and to get to meet some of you and actually learn firsthand what you're battling with and how you use the console and what the problems are and what the good things are was really good. So it really helps me in my work, and some of the stuff has been coming with the statistics because we heard that as well, that you wanted that, and there's more in the making, and lots of the feedback, lots of it comes from the feedback, so keep it coming.
Okay. Charles, thank you for your question as well. It would be useful to know how many of the upgrades were automatic. I guess that will just get added to the list of feature requests at some point to be reviewed. But, Oh, sorry, put your hand up.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting idea. We haven't yet thought about it, and this is like right now we of course do not have this information about whether installations are automatic or not, but it's something which I'm sure.
So what's the current situation on upgrade installations? Are they ever automatic if you haven't ticked the box?
No.
Or
So if you haven't ticked the box, it's not automatic.
So per install, you tick the allow automatic updating box, but then if the permissions for the application change, it will still ask you if you want to do the update.
Yeah. So I guess I would say if you look at your graph of the updates and it has an immediate kind of spike almost instantaneously, probably I wouldn't say all of them, but probably many of them are coming from the automatic installs. And then you'll see it kind of taper off and go a bit more slowly after that. You look at these sort of characteristic shapes after you start looking at it a bit, and the ones that occur later, probably more of them are likely to be manual installations. So, but yeah, that is a good point to keep in mind. If you ever change the permissions, you may end up having a much slower update occurring. People might not take it up as quickly.
Yeah, that is something that the version chart should also figure out. But normally what you see is when you roll out a new version, you see the drop down in people using the old one, and the spike in people are picking up the new one, and depending on the curve of that, you may see that maybe the new one is not doing as well as you thought, or maybe it's not taking up as much as you thought, and that should be taken into account as well. And you also see the curve of people that maybe are on an older version of the application and not upgrading it anymore because maybe they're not using their device anymore.
Yeah, and this is going to be especially visible when you look at active installs. They are about installations which are on devices which are currently active. So likelihood of anything that you see in the active device install breakdowns, they are really devices on which have checked in over the last some period of time. Whereas when you look at the total matrix breakdowns, you would see a lot of installations which are like previous very old versions, and they indicate that these are devices which are no more active and it's not in use. So
Okay. So that first 20-minute section has now passed. So if you do want to ask questions about any other areas of Android development, please feel free to put them in the chat window, either in Google+, or directly if you can join the Hangout.
Is there a question there? I think I'm seeing at the top it says...
I think that was the
the first.
Oh, is it Pip states it again? Okay.
Oh, there we go.
Here we go.
Follow up to Ed's original question. Is there a way to correlate? Thank you. Correlate Google Analytics. It's a long way away.
Is there a way to
A
correlate?
guest from the site is going to hello.
Is there a way to correlate Google Analytics events and data to the data that is shown in the market stats? For example, I want to discover if users in Korea are installing the new version of my app. Data shown in the market stats, but only running it once or twice for a short amount of time. Data you get from Google Analytics. So I think that verges on tracking individual users, which we don't really allow you to do. Well, support that through the application stats. So I think I'm right in saying that no, we don't really support that use case right now. I can't see us getting into that.
Yeah. And I guess what I would say is, we consider Google Analytics or other analytics products to really be a value add on top of what we're offering. We're really focused on giving you a great publisher experience, giving you new ways to promote your application, new ways to publish it and really get interesting business models. Google Analytics or other analytics tools are really focused on giving you that complete analytics picture. So it'd be the sort of thing, well, if you can get that information from Google Analytics, I would definitely encourage you to look there. We're sort of thinking about, well, long term, how does that work? But we definitely see that analytics products enhance what we're already making available. So, feel free to have a look.
Okay, one more question's come in from Michael Carraza. Probably not saying that right. Can the new statistics track uninstalls that occur directly on the device? So I guess that's instead of going through the market client and hitting uninstall, if you instead go to manage apps and uninstall.
Right now, no. So right now, the daily uninstallation count that you get, those are the installation that happened on the device. We don't know how it was triggered. But yeah, this is something that we do not have enough data right now to differentiate between whether installation was initiated through web or through.
What about
if you drag it to remove or uninstall? You know, when you're
that
in
happens from the device. So right now,
so all the ones from the device are tracked.
yeah.
Oh, so it is tracked if you go through Manage Apps and uninstall or drag it to
Yeah.
account?
Yeah.
It's just not differentiated between.
Yeah. So we can't differentiate between right now an installation that happened through different things. They are just uninstalled.
They're all together. So at least you won't lose any data.
Yeah.
I guess, you know, if someone uninstalls your app, that's sort of good enough no matter where they do it.
Yeah,
It's good to know why, well, gosh, why was that person unhappy?
Exactly.
We have another
I think
question.
also it also applies to, for example, if you're wiping your device, those are counted toward the.
So
well.
when you wipe your device, they don't count under daily uninstall because we are not sure whether it was installed or not. But your active count will come down. So wiping a device doesn't count as daily uninstall.
But surely it's no longer an active device that appears in the stats.
Yeah. So your active installation count is going to go down, but there is no change in daily installation if the device is wiped out.
So there's a question here from Justo, who's asking how he can get his app featured. So that's a very popular question we get a lot.
Yep.
And the kind of slightly flippant answer is to write an excellent app, and we will look for it. There's a team of editors who are scouring the Android market or Play Store for great quality applications. But there are a few things you can do. So on your side, you want to promote the app as much as you can through your own channels, so through social networks, through blogs, and so on. And that will help you get your app moving and get noticed. The other thing you can do is if you tune in to the Friday review, which our team also started running. So that gives you the opportunity to get your application in front of a team of our team, developer relations, and we can give you some feedback, and hopefully any good ones we can try and help you out some way. So I'm not going to say too much more on that.
Indeed. But it's easy. There's one I skipped there. There's one we missed. Yeah. Will we ever be able to respond to market comments? Again, it's on that feature list. Quite a few of the developers asked for it when it was around, but nothing to announce on it. Thank you, Matt. So we've got another one from Scott McLaughlin. Will Android start a blog to be more open on the current status of development? The current feeling in the wild is that ICS has stagnated at 4.02, and we haven't had anything weeks. That's interesting because our own statistics currently state that Android 4.03 is on 4 times as many devices as Android 4.02. So the feeling in the wild should be that we're on 4.03. I'm not sure if you're able to see that if I bring it up. If you go to supporting multiple devices at developer.android.com, that's what you see at the moment. That's high tech, isn't it? No broadcasting screens now. And Android 4.03 is at 1.2% of the market, and Android 4.02 is at 0.4% of the market. But the other part of your question,
and I'd say also, just to add to that, I think there's, maybe there isn't an official blog telling you exactly what the engineers are working on at any one time, and there's plenty of good reasons why we don't do that. But I think the core engineers are very communicative. So if you follow someone like Romanti or Diane Hackborn on Google+, then I think they're very kind of engaged and chatting about Android best practices and kind of what they're thinking at the time. So I think there's lots of information out there.
And of course, the flip side, the thing that we normally get, the question we normally get is Android's moving too quickly. How do we keep up with it? There's, creates issues between versions 2, 3, and 4. So it's good to get the converse question once in a while that says you're moving too slowly. I'm not quite sure where you want us to go, but we'll keep plugging at it. Do we have any more questions in from the stream, Nick?
John has
we've got one from Doug. Here we go. One from Matt. When can I buy a GSM Galaxy Nexus in the US? I have no idea. Totally based in the UK here, Matt. Sorry. Maybe it'll be announced on AT&T's website. What's a GSM carrier in America?
AT&T.
Yeah, not Verizon or Sprint. They're both.
As far as I know.
Yeah. Who knows?
You're the American in the room.
Yeah. For a while.
Sorry about that. I don't actually have a good answer for that one.
Another good question from Justo. asking, is there an application, an Android application, that he thinks to review his app stats? So I'm going to guess it not yet, because they've just been launched. But now that they have CSV download, how about 20% project, guys?
Well, since we had nothing else to work on, I guess we'll have
It's like we have a model queue.
Actually, just you could write your own app. Does a auth login, grabs the CSV file, populates the view.
Sure.
That'd be great. We'll promote it in a future Hangout if you make one.
Yeah. We have in Germany saying step by step. So.
Yeah. Good one. Peter Sinot. Does daily upgrades only count upgrades done by the market?
Yes.
A small percentage of my upgrades are to versions released several months ago.
Interesting.
Where
So
they come from.
if you release a couple of versions, when you do an update, it should update you to the newest version, right?
Hmm.
When you say a couple, is it literally like 0.0001%? I would be curious to know more. That sounds a bit iffy.
The only thing that I can see this happening on is if you're using multiple APK support and the baseline APK is on an earlier version than the other ones, and then people coming in on older versions of Android or however you split your multiple APKs will receive that earlier version. But if you're not using multiple APK support and they are being installed by the market as opposed to some third-party market by the Google Play client on the phone, then that's strange.
Yeah.
If you get a chance to put any more details into the
Yeah,
chat,
that would be
please
Control,
do.
yeah. And the other possibility could be if it is a system app, then when new devices get rolled out, you still have to version.
Oh, that's true. Or
True, if you're
pre-installs, maybe.
pre-installed, maybe.
Pre-install application.
Like
I don't know whether
some,
this one is a pre-install application or not, but this is very much likely also for pre-install.
Yeah, that's
So
a
it
good
says,
point.
it says it's 2% today and he's not using multiple APK support.
It's actually not too There's somebody out there.
Comment from the sidelines.
Yeah.
Is it possible that some people are downloading the app in the market and they're not hitting the install button? They come back a couple of months later and say, oh, I didn't install that. Install.
On
do
the
we actually
market,
figure out the difference?
you can't download and install independently. It's one button.
Yeah, but it comes up and it says they're downloading and then it'll pop up and say install now. And
Yeah.
You can cancel after you.
it doesn't actually install until you click the second install button, so maybe that's the difference. So download a non-application and wait a while for it to install.
How many apps do I install from the market? Like a gazillion? I'm going to do one more now just to check the file.
So Peter said he's not using multiple APK support.
Okay. Yeah.
So
Well, it's
what-
weird. If you think it's a bug, we can try to investigate it because that seems weird.
It would be interesting to get the package name, then we can discuss it. Possibly. So,
Another feature request coming in from Roberto, who says he would like to see statistics on votes, on the ratings of the application.
Okay.
So he'd love to see stats on total rating by day, by month, average rating by day, and total anonymous rating. So thank you very much for the feedback.
What is a total anonymous rating?
Without comments?
Oh. Oh, total anonymous. Oh, I see. Yeah.
And Blake is asking if we're going to launch an Android IDE, which we're not going to comment on, so I don't know.
Although there was an interesting few posts on Google Plus over the last couple of days over AID, an Android IDE that runs on Android devices. I'm very much looking forward to trying that out on a Transformer Prime. See if I can write my first Android app on an Android device. That's a third-party tool. I think it was called AID.
Yes.
Yes?
I mean, it was,
Has anyone tried it?
No,
I haven't
yeah,
tried
No. So I very much intend to try AID out at some point soon. Oh, what's that? Pay to have it. Oh, there we go. Oh, Gary. It's time. We're watching someone
So,
tap on the keyboard.
quite a few questions coming through asking about future product launches and so on. So just to reiterate, in case you missed earlier on, we're not going to be like announcing or speculating on any future products that Android or Google roll out.
But
So-
that said, we're hearing what you're asking for,
Yeah,
and we can certainly keep that in mind, whether or not we're working on it at this time.
we might not be able to answer them now.
Oh, moving apps from free to paid. That was a top topic in our last hangout. We definitely got a lot of inquiries about that one. I guess we'll continue to think about that problem and all the different concerns associated with that. So we've definitely had quite a number of developers mention it.
Ask what phones we are using.
To bold ask what phones we're using, so Galaxy
pretty
Nexus.
So, David's asked a couple of questions. One about the refresh schedule for featured apps. That's out of our control as well, unfortunately. But the other one, is Google Play going to be Android only moving forward, or non-Android Google properties be rolled into it? Google Play is already non-Android as well. You can use it on the web. You can get movies. You can watch them, rent them. I guess it depends which country you're in. If you're in a country where Google Play is still just applications, then I guess you get the website plus Play. But in other countries, we have apps, books, movies, and music, and they're available via the web, etc. as well.
Another question from Ed Burnett. He says he has 2 applications which are unpublished at the moment, but one of them shows 5,000 plus active device installs and 1 to 2 daily device installs. How is this possible? Any ideas from the team?
I mean, if you unpublish an app, it does not uninstall the app from the user's phone, obviously.
Yeah.
So even if you take it out from Android Market, Google Play, the user downloaded it once, so we do not wipe that data, obviously. It's not...
Does the user still have it on
yes,
the device?
They will keep it.
I'd be curious to know, has he published it in the past? Or is it that he's not published it yet?
Just unpublished. Yeah, it must be
So
past.
it was published, published it, and if it's already on some devices, then
Yeah.
it still count as active until the user wipes it out.
It's strange that he still sees 1 or
So-
2 installs per day.
Okay, yeah, I can understand the active install rate,
Yeah.
but the installs per day was...
One or looks like this also could, if there is a bug, this could be related to the previous question about why people are seeing daily installs of a previous version. So this sounds related to the same problem. Maybe there is a bug.
Yeah, I wonder when the market
Yeah.
or the Android
It could be
client
like
checks
when the device is checking in,
Yeah.
the installation timestamp is wrong. Or
So the follow-up question there in the chat from Derek says, if someone wipes their phone, can they download apps that have been unpublished?
They shouldn't be
I
able to.
think the answer is no.
The answer's no.
Yeah.
You lose the app at that point.
So it would be interesting to know the problem with the daily devices, 1 or 2 installs. Again, we get some more details. We can have a look into that.
We got one from Subalt. Is anybody in the room not using a Galaxy Nexus?
Yeah, we have it already. I think I'm using a Chromebook.
Maybe I missed the answer.
Yeah, Galaxy Tab, I've got a Zoom right here.
And the Zoom as well.
But if you could wish you were using any device, I don't know, from Mobile Congress maybe, I wouldn't. I'd have upgraded to a Transformer Prime by now. But of course, I would have upgraded to a Transformer Prime 201. But then yesterday they went and announced the 301 and the 701 as well. The Transformer Pad Infinity. It looks like a very nice device. Quad-core, but HD screen, 1900 by 12.
I saw the waterproof mobile phones. Those were pretty
Yeah, a
cool.
few companies have these now.
Great for a
It's,
beach holiday.
Silicon vapor process, isn't it? So they vaporize silicon and run the circuit boards through it, and it coats them all, and then they're waterproof.
Actually, water damage is the biggest reason in the UK for damage of your phone.
Really?
Yep.
Okay.
It rains so much.
Not
It
only
rains so much.
appliance for the toilet.
And it rains quite a lot.
I know someone who got pushed
Rain.
into a swimming pool once with a phone in her pocket.
Oh!
Hey!
Live.
Hello.
Hello.
We have a live question.
This is joined live.
What's his name?
Oh, maybe we should.
Hi, Krishna.
Krishna, yeah.
Krishna, can you hear us? I think you're muted.
Hi.
Hey.
Krishna, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. Sorry, I was on mute.
I think you're muted.
Yes, I was. Hi. I have a. Yes, I can hear you. Sorry, I was on mute.
Feedback loop.
I have
Then we won't hear anything.
Yeah, just to break the loop.
Let's try that again.
Did you have a question?
Why is typing in?
Oh, okay. 1 minute lag, yeah, that's not ideal.
Yes, perhaps you can type the question, it would be great.
Yeah, sorry for that.
And while you're typing it out, there's a question on the thread saying, from Justo again, saying the emulator in the SDK is very slow. Are we doing anything to work on it? So this week at GDC, I think we've already previewed some feature enhancements which are coming out soon. So yes, we're constantly working on the emulator. So some work which we showed at Google I/O last year to bring hardware acceleration to the rendering pipeline. So yes, we're constantly working on the emulator. So some work which we showed at Google I/O last year to bring hardware acceleration. And what's more, we showed off a new feature which is going to help speed up the emulator as well. So if you look out for the recordings of the sessions that Google ran at the Game Developer Conference in San Francisco this week, then you can catch up on all the latest on that.
And the tools team work in the open as well at tools.android.com. So if you've not been there, go and check it out and see what the latest thing they're updating to is. They turn around new releases very quickly. So here's a question for the PubSite team. Is it possible to remove an old unpublished app from the developer console?
Not at this point. I know Eveletta heard that a lot in her research.
Yes.
People did want to remove it, so...
yeah, people like being tidy somehow, don't they?
I appreciate that. I can understand that.
Seeing all those old stats from those old apps that you used to have. And... no.
Oh wait, do we have a question from Krishna yet?
Okay.
He's still typing.
There is a lag. Okay. The lag for chat appears to be longer than okay.
Oh, there we go.
Here we go, yeah.
Can we have a feature which lets users who get a crash choose to be contacted by the developer? We may even give them an option to be anonymous to protect their privacy. It's an interesting feature request. I'm aware of some third-party tools that enable this, but we don't have it today, and I guess we can't have an option to be anonymous to protect their privacy. It's really interesting. We've definitely heard from a lot of Android developers that one of the things they actually like about the Android platform is, because you can just publish your app whenever you want. The sooner you hear about a bug, if you can go ahead and turn around a fix really quickly, you can push out another release really soon. There's no kind of waiting time or artificial process there. So, if you do find out about those issues, it can definitely be a great way to keep your customer ratings high to be able to turn around those bug fixes quickly. I see Krishna's typing a bit more. He says, can we... wait, it says... Sorry guys, I hear 3 voices at once. Uh-oh.
Just one sec. For a previous question, actually, do you know if there were any videos from the GDC talks made?
I've seen some of the videos have been posted on Google Developers YouTube channel, so youtube.com/Google Developers. I haven't checked in today to see if everything's gone up yet.
Yeah, that's a good point. A lot of the videos from GDC, if they are made, will go on the Google Developers.
Charles has some other odd installs. I mean, yeah, as we said, we're happy to put some investigation into that, but well, we obviously need the app which you mentioned.
Yeah, if you can just post us your package name, Charles, of your application. Hopefully we'll get a chance to look into it as well.
And maybe some details, obviously, what is asked, and then we can try our best.
Okay.
So 2 more feature requests coming in. One from Peter, who asks if the app crashes, whether you'd be able to prompt someone to update to the latest version if they don't have it, which is a nice idea. Thank you very much for the feature request. And the second one from David, who asks for the ability to filter apps by G+ circles for beta testing. So that sounds like funky functionality as well for running a beta test. So thank you for that feature request.
Okay.
Alright, I see we're getting a question coming in the chat and getting answered in the chat.
The chat is self-answering thing. So,
there was a question about whether the replies that we're getting now will be available somewhere later. Yes, right. The video is being recorded on YouTube and will be available for replay.
This video will be on YouTube, and this Google Plus post? I guess it's a good question, actually. Where do the chat comments from my Hangout go when it goes on there? Is it vaporized?
I don't know.
Maybe we can copy and paste them into the Android developers post for this video.
Yeah, feel free to add them to the Plus post yourself too. I guess that would be cool. We will review the Plus.
Thank you, Krishna.
Thank you. Thanks, Krishna.
Charles, thanks for the package name. We will have a look. Oh, it's Sky. I didn't have it. Sky Scanner.
Is it a flight search?
Yeah, flight search. Pretty useful.
Okay. It's always cool to meet the developer
Yeah,
whose app you
definitely.
like and go, oh, it's
Apparently,
that
a few
guy.
people here use your app, Charles.
Yeah.
Do we have another live question coming in?
Looks like.
Yeah.
So
And maybe a big
Hopefully-
lag.
I think we have to put the volume on.
hopefully without 1 minute delay.
So, is it Tobiah? Hi there, do you have a question? No?
Who's the listener? Do you have a question?
Did you have a question? No,
Oh,
no,
yeah.
just watching. Fair enough, fair enough. Okay, well, thanks for joining. Anyone?
No, it's nice to see real faces, though.
Yeah, it is.
It's supposed to be. A lot of people like to hide behind the. He's jumped out.
Ah.
Hide behind the YouTube channel where they don't get picked on.
Yeah, last time we had a lot more people join live. We had like 10 or so, or maybe more people came in. We got to see some of them sitting on their couch and some of them sitting in their office. And
That's the difference with the on air, isn't it?
yeah,
They get the choice to hide.
I know.
Previously, I did wonder what all the black ones are.
Yeah, that's true. I see we have video adding and it's too early in the US. Well, we were hoping to get more European developers this time, actually,
Yeah.
which I guess
Yeah.
we did, but
I mean, obviously we try to cover as much as we can.
yeah.
But we are sitting in London, if this is not clear, so
In a room with 100 androids.
yeah,
Yeah.
we should go with the camera.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Yeah, if there's nothing else coming in on stats, I'll just refresh my list one more time, just in case.
Feature request bundle device name is yeah,
Seems like crash reports is going to be a pretty good subject for people.
we will, as I already said, we will write everything down what you're mentioning, but again we can't comment on that and can't announce anything.
Okay, so it seems like there's not any more questions coming through, so we're going to call it a day there. So from London, with your friendly developer console team and designers and Android developer relations team, thank you very much everyone for joining in, and for those of you watching later on YouTube, and goodbye.
Yeah. Bye.
All right, bye. Bye.